Joe, good to see how you doing. Evening, how you been? Evening, Miles and CMF. Talk, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Jason, good to see you. How you doing, brother? How you been? Evening. Comatose and all Miles and family, good to see you. Comatose, how you doing? Free and Forever, good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you. Free and Forever, how you doing? T, hello, Miles. I messaged you on X a few days ago. When you get a time, if you can have a look. T, I'll take a look after the live. Apologies about that. Hi, Miles and CMF, but good to see you, T. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. Artistic, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Seasons, greetings, Miles. Paul, good to see you. How you doing, brother? How you been? Evening, Miles. Joe Zemper, good to see you. How you doing, brother? What happened to the market? Isn't it a good thing to cut the interest rates? No, it wasn't the interest rate situation that caused the market to collapse. What actually was the reason for the market collapse is Jerome Powell. He made some other speeches. So Jerome Powell, we're going to go through it on tonight's live anyways, but Jerome Powell, it wasn't the interest rates that was the issue. He said we're going to do a lot less interest rates. He also said that the market is easing. And he also said that the crypto market isn't going to be a market where America is going to focus on moving into 2025. So obviously the market reacted in a bad way. The last time Jerome Powell spoke, he compared Bitcoin to digital gold, which made the market react in a positive way. This time he spoke, he said he doesn't really see the point of Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency is not much to it either, and that 2025 is not going to be a break year for crypto assets, and that Trump might not be able to be very successful on implementing rules and regulations. So he went on a whole bashing of cryptocurrencies, which didn't really help the crypto space on Jerome Powell's speech. He also said we're going to do a lot fewer rate cuts. Apparently next year we were supposed to have 4 to 5 rate cuts. According to Jerome Powell's speech now, we're going to be having 2, or maybe not even 2. So it wasn't the reasons of the rate cuts that we're having, because rate cuts are actually a good thing, but it's because he said we're only going to be having 2 going forward. And he did cut the rates by 25%, but at the exact same time, he said that he doesn't really see the point of Bitcoin. He doesn't see Trump doing well in 2025 and so on, regarding crypto assets and so on. And there was a lot of other things as well, which we're going to go from tonight's live. So, even Miles and CMF, Manny, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Thanks, Miles. Bro, no problem. T, anytime. So, Tor, we're going to get into that. First, hello, Miles and CMF. I hope that everyone had a good day. Scott, good to see you. How you doing? Good day, Miles. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? Miles, market down because of an idiot man. Yes, because of Jerome Powell. He's the idiot man. Share the live. Let's go, Scott. So let's do a breakdown of what we're going to go through on tonight's live, and then we'll do intro disclaimer. By that time, everyone's pretty much tuned in for the first part. So the first thing we're going to cover on tonight's live is regarding the Federal Reserve. So we're going to be talking about what Jerome Powell's speech was and the impact it had on the market space. We're also going to be talking about the UK, because the UK came out with their inflation report at the exact same time Jerome Powell made his speech. Pretty much the same speech, I would have to say, from the UK and the US. Then we're going to be talking about something quite odd about MicroStrategy that just came out. We're also going to be talking about Hong Kong on tonight's live, essentially moving forward to becoming a crypto hub no matter what. We're also going to be talking about Wall Street's relationship with essentially crypto and Bitcoin in general, moving into 2025. Very different from Jerome Powell's speech is what Wall Street is essentially saying. We're also going to be talking about on tonight's live regarding BlackRock. Now, during these movements that's been happening, during the Jerome Powell speech, the purchases that are coming through from BlackRock are actually quite high. So as essentially Jerome Powell made the speech that Bitcoin is not really the it asset, BlackRock has been buying. They brought over just over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin as the price was dropping. Deutsche Bank, we're also going to be talking about on tonight's live as well. We're also going to be talking about American stock markets hitting $64 trillion, larger than the rest of the world combined together. And I'll explain why that's a good news. We're also going to be going through crypto.com news on tonight's live, because crypto.com has withdrawn their lawsuit completely from the SEC. Crypto.com was suing the SEC, but after having a meeting with Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, they decided to not sue the SEC anymore because there's no point, because we're getting a new chairman. We're also going to be talking about Ledger on tonight's live as well, because there's a new scam going around, which I have to warn everyone about to not fall for. It's coming from Ledger's side. We're also going to be talking about a crypto project that I talked about a while ago, still hasn't launched, but just wanted to update you on what essentially they've achieved so far in terms of VC money that's coming into them. We're also going to be talking about Elon Musk on tonight's live. Apparently, the chances of Elon Musk running for president 2028. Now, you might think to yourself, well, that's not possible because Elon Musk is not a US citizen, as in he's not born in the US, and therefore he's not allowed to become an American president. But apparently he can. So we're going to talk about that on tonight's live. We're also going to be talking about JP Morgan on tonight's live, because JP Morgan has went against Jerome Powell's speech of how Jerome Powell said, you know, Trump is not going to be able to achieve the things he said he's going to be achieving regarding crypto assets and rules and regulations and so on. According to JP Morgan, Trump can achieve those rules and regulations and make America the capital of cryptocurrencies. So before we talk about any of those topics, just want to say to everyone, welcome. If you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Mouse Family. If you're watching this live for the first time ever, this is a CMF Live, stands for Crypto Mouse Family. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So if you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live. If you're watching this as a regular, let's go CMF. And also, thank you so much to everybody that's retweeting this live right now on X. I'm getting notifications. Thanks so much to everyone that's retweeting this live on X, liking this live on X, and putting a comment outside the video on X. And thank you so much to everybody that essentially has also liked this video on YouTube as well. We also do Q&As on this live as well, which means if you do have any questions, don't be shy, put it down inside the comment section. I'm more than happy to help you out. Now, the first news we are going to be covering on tonight's live is regarding the Federal Reserve speech. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were at. We were at here. Can Trump get rid of Jerome Powell? Send him packing. It is a possibility. Jerome Powell can, be dismissed by Donald Trump. A lot of laws in Congress, voting situations have to happen to remove Jerome Powell, but it can be done. And there has been discussions of removing Jerome Powell before by Donald Trump. Good evening, everyone. Denise, good to see you. Well, how you doing? Good evening, Miles. How's it going? Callie, good to see you. Well, how you doing? Evening, Miles and the family. Ian, good to see you. Well, how you doing? Good evening, brother Miles and the CMF family. Funky brother, good to see you. Well, how you doing? Morning, Miles of CMF. Shelly, good to see you. Well, how you doing? Miles, why are all the markets down when the Feds have reduced the rates? I'm going to get into it now. Morning, all. Suze, good to see you. Well, how you doing? How you been, Suze? Miles, what are your thoughts on RLUSD? It's a great stable coin I'm definitely going to be using. Obama wasn't born in the US either, so Elon qualifies. Fair point. Could the dump be the whales manipulating the crypto markets so that everyone sells and they buy back in the cheaper? Yes, it is. I'll tell you why. It's quite manipulated. Okay, the Federal Reserve. Now, when we do have rate cuts, all the rate cuts that we've had inside the crypto space, the markets reacted in a positive way. The crypto markets have reacted in a positive way with all the rate cuts we've had so far, except this one, because this one was a little bit different. Because Jerome Powell didn't just make a speech about, the market space in general, how the US economy is doing. He went also on a rant against Bitcoin. You see, his last speech, Jerome Powell, was we're going to be having some sort of rate cuts, and that Bitcoin can essentially be compared to gold, is what Jerome Powell essentially said in his last speech. And the market reacted in a positive way. And then you fast forward to his recent speech, which was today, and he said basically that Bitcoin has no such future ahead of itself, you could say. He did do rate cuts, but at the exact same time, he bashed the idea of cryptocurrencies. So here it is. This is why this one was a little bit different. This week brought a pivotal news for cryptocurrency essentially supporters, as the Federal Reserve shared its position on interest rates and Bitcoin. The expected delay in substantial interest rate reductions has been confirmed, further impacting Bitcoin's performance. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's firm comments regarding Bitcoin have significantly contributed to the downturn in the cryptocurrency values. Jerome Powell, who is set to continue his role as the Federal Reserve for at least another 2 years, is not easily replaced. Former President essentially Trump remarked that dismissing essentially Jerome Powell could jeopardize economic stability, allowing Jerome Powell to serve his term until 2026. Moreover, the challenge of ousting a Fed chairman often leads to complex legal disputes, which Jerome Powell is likely to win. So, in other words, if Trump wants to get rid of Jerome Powell, it's going to be very difficult, but it can be done, but it's extremely difficult. Now, despite Jerome Powell's remarks, there is skepticism about whether Republicans can successfully pass legislation supporting Bitcoin, even with their current majority in Congress. So you see, Jerome Powell and the people around Jerome Powell made certain speeches about crypto assets today. Some of them said that they don't see Donald Trump being able to pass crypto regulations. You see, they did do rate cuts, but at the exact same time, they bashed the idea of cryptocurrencies. They came out, the people around Jerome Powell, they came out and said, well, we don't think Trump can essentially bring rules and regulations in 2025. We don't think America can become a crypto hub. So that's what they did. At the exact same time of doing a 25 basis rate cuts, they just bashed the idea of cryptocurrencies at the exact same time. As Bitcoin essentially declined because of these additional voices around Jerome Powell, alternative cryptocurrencies also experienced significant losses. The decline in cryptocurrencies' values are attributed to several specific factors. Predictions indicating that there are also only 2 interest rate cuts that are happening in 2025. You see, 2025, according to Wall Street, was supposed to be having 4 to 5 rate cuts. We're supposed to have 4 to 5 rate cuts in 2025. Jerome Powell comes out and says, no, who said 4 to 5? We're only probably going to have 2, maybe not even 2 rate cuts in 2025. So that didn't really help the market space. Then the Fed expressed uncertainty about reaching a 2% inflation target within 2 years. Then Jerome Powell is against accumulating Bitcoin reserves. You see how Trump's whole idea was Bitcoin reserves, America will become the capital hub of cryptocurrencies. Jerome Powell essentially said that he doesn't see the point of a Bitcoin reserve. There's no point of having a Bitcoin reserve. He doesn't see Bitcoin as a substantial asset. But his last speech was Bitcoin can be compared to a digital gold. But now, when he essentially announced 25 basis rate cuts, he comes out and goes, there's no point of Bitcoin. What happened to Bitcoin can be compared to a digital gold, Jerome Powell? Why are you changing your words the moment you're about to do a rate cut? Strong employment figures is also essentially paired. Possible interest rate hikes loom if inflation fails to decline. Strong employment figures paired with essentially staggered inflation could prevent interest rate cuts next year. Apparently, according to Jerome Powell, there is a massive wave of jobs that's going to be happening. So the American economy is booming. So that means traditional market spaces are booming and that we might not need any sort of rate cuts going into 2025, maybe not even 2 rate cuts, according to Jerome Powell. The focus essentially also has shifted from interest rate cuts to a pause in reduction. So we went through Jerome Powell doing multiple rate cuts are going to be happening to Jerome Powell thinking, no, let's just pause rate cuts completely. A 90% reduction probability exists for no interest rate cuts. 90% chance that we're not even going to get rate cuts from Jerome Powell. 90% chance, no rate cuts are going to be happening in January, according to Jerome Powell. Maintaining current rates. The dollar index has reached unprecedented highs. US stock markets are also experiencing downward trends because of Jerome Powell's speech. The recent statements from the Federal Reserves are reshaping market expectations and investor sentiments regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. The interplay of economic indicators, regulatory remarks, and market reactions will continue to play a crucial role in determining the future trajectory of Bitcoin and other digital assets. So that is why the 25 basis point rate cut didn't really help the market space, because at the exact same time, Jerome Powell comes out and goes, don't see the point of Bitcoin or crypto assets in general. And I don't believe that Trump is going to make America the crypto capital hub. And there's 90% chance we're not even going to do rate cuts moving forward. And there's also a chance we're just going to pause rate cuts in general. So that is why the news announcement of 25 basis cuts didn't really help the market space, because he went on a complete rant of bashing the market space back to back. Yeah, that's why this rate cut was very different, because he just went on a full rant. His previous speech, Bitcoin can be compared to digital gold, is what he said. Now he comes out and goes, don't see the point of Bitcoin. Don't see the point of cryptocurrencies. That's why the rate cut didn't do much. Because he's just one big manipulator is what he is. Now, on the topic of, Jerome Powell bashing the idea of cryptocurrencies, we also had the UK's numbers come out at the exact same time. So at the exact same time, Jerome Powell's speech was all about bashing the idea of cryptocurrencies. We had the UK's numbers come out as well. So the UK inflation data from the Office for National Statistics revealed that inflation in the jurisdictions have soared to about 2.6%. in November, aligning with the economist forecast. Data released by the Office for National Statistics shows that the UK's November year-on-year inflation rose to 2.6 from 2.3 and recorded in 12 months leading to October. This marked a second consecutive monthly essentially increase. According to the release data, the consumer price index, including owner-occupiers, housing costs, and surged essentially by 3.5% in the last 12 months to November 2024, up from 3.2% in the last 12 months to October in the UK. The monthly CPIH, essentially the housing price index, by 0.2% has increased by 0.2% in November 2024, compared with a 0.1% fall recorded essentially in November 2023. The monthly CPI rose by 0.1% in November 2024. The UK compared with a fall of 0.2% in November 2023, and the November core consumer price index of year, essentially year on year, came at around 3.5%, falling short of retainers of 3.6% forecast by 0.1%. The November MOM, also core CPI, fell to 0.0% from 0.4%, and the headline prices rises that were initially expected to tick higher in the following months hit a 3.5-year low of 1.7% in September. The projected uptick was partly due to the increased regulators set energy price caps this winter. Joel Nealis, an economic advisor at the accountancy of MHA, projected essentially that the upward trend could continue the next few months, citing that the long-term pressure of tight domestic labor markets as well as the energy markets. Joel also added that the underlying structural issues would be worsened and aggravated by the government's recent decisions, which include a higher public sector pay settlements and increased minimum essentially wage. He also mentioned that the pressure on businesses caused on a surge in tax contributions could also inflame the structural issues. And inflation has persisted in the service sectors, which makes up the dominant part of the economy in the UK. The rising inflation in the sector has led to high likelihoods of no interest rate cuts during the Bank of England's final meeting of the year. So it seems like Jerome Powell's speech of we're going to pause rate cuts, no more rate cuts at all, it's matching what the UK is saying. The UK is also saying that we're having increased amount of inflation. The UK's economy is not doing too brilliant, but yet we're also not going to do rate cuts. The Office for National Statistics reported earlier this week that regular wages growth strengthened by rising from 4.9% over July to September to 5.2% over the August and October periods. The growth period reinforced essentially speculations about the interest rate cuts. Research group Capital Economics supports the claim that the Bank of England will most likely rule out the expected December rate cuts, so no rate cuts are happening in the UK either. According to the George Dibb, Associate Director for Economic Policies at the Institutions for Public essentially for Policy Research, the overall inflation figures were broadly in line with projections made by the Central Bank of England. Dibb also raised concerns that the UK's weaker than expected growth now lags behind the bank's projections, and if the Bank of England decides to leave the monetary policies unhinged in its final meetings, the central bank will compete with a year only of 2 interest rate cuts that have brought the rates from 5.25% to 4.75%. Meanwhile, the US central bank is expected to slash rate cuts by 0.25%, which Trump already announced, bringing its total yearly cuts to a 4 percentage point. So, Jerome Powell making a speech that we're going to have rate cuts, it was good, but then he had to continue and go on about how crypto has no future, how Trump is not going to be able to achieve a capital cryptocurrency hub in the US, and there's no point of Bitcoin. And then at the same time, the UK released their essentially reports stating that they're also not going to do rate cuts anymore. But the UK did mention that they're also having massive inflation situations, but they don't see the point of rate cuts. I mean, what more would you want from manipulation? They're seeing the issue. They know there's a major issue. They know the inflation is not doing too well. It's actually increasing. They know that people can't afford electricity. They know people can't afford groceries, rent, mortgage, pay their loans off, but they don't see the point of rate cuts. In the UK, at least the UK didn't go on a rant about cryptocurrencies like Jerome Powell after his speech of how the UK will never become a crypto hub, or the UK doesn't see the point of Bitcoin or crypto assets. At least they stopped with the matter of inflation or rate cuts. Jerome Powell just continued on, just bashing the idea of cryptocurrencies in general and Donald Trump's plans. Now, let's go inside essentially the comment section first before we move on to Hong Kong. Let's move away from Jerome Powell's manipulated speech, because it doesn't match his previous speech of how Bitcoin can be compared to gold, and now Bitcoin is useless according to him now. In a matter of a month, his speech completely changed. But let's move away from Jerome Powell's speech to Hong Kong. But before we go through that, let's consider the comment section first. So let's move away from the negativity and let's go into the positive of what's going to be happening next. But before we do that, let's consider the comment section first. Let's see where we were at. So yeah, if you're wondering why the markets are down during a rate cut, it's because Jerome Powell didn't close his big mouth and continued talking and bashing the idea of cryptocurrencies. Evening, Miles and CMF. Pierce, good to see you. How you doing? Evening, Miles and family. Mickey, good to see you. How you doing? Greetings, Miles and CMF. Ray, good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. G, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles and family. Alex, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Miles, deliberate comments to dump the market, I believe. Seems like it. I'll be honest. Hello, Miles and CMF. I agree with Shirley. Hello, Miles and CMF. Lena, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Jerome Powell, man. Why does he speak all this BS? You think just to manipulate the markets? Hell yes. His voice moves the markets. So he knows that anything he says, the market will react. So last month he'll come out. Last month he actually came out and said Bitcoin is digital gold and crypto has a future. This month he comes out, Bitcoin has no future, doesn't see the point of cryptocurrencies, and America will never become a crypto hub. How do you go from digital gold, crypto has a future, to no future, no capital hub, Bitcoin can't, there's no relevance to Bitcoin? How do you go from that to that? During rate cuts is the funny part. Yeah, he knows he's a manipulator. Anything he says, the market will react to it. Who believes in rate cuts is all BS? Wall Street does. That's the issue. Miles, Jerome Powell said that the Fed is not allowed to own Bitcoin. They work in riddles. That's true as well. They did say that. I never said hi, brother. Come on, good to see you. How you doing? You've been. Do you think the RLUSD will negatively affect the price of XRP now? There is another option for cross-border payments. I understand that they will bring more attention to XRP, but why would anyone use XRP now? Wouldn't it be more expensive? No. Okay. Do you think that RLUSD will negatively affect the price of XRP now? No. RLUSD's purpose is very different to XRP's purpose. A lot of people need to understand this. XRP's purpose is vast. RLUSD only has one purpose. It's a stablecoin. That's pretty much it. XRP is an underlying asset. It's a gas token as well. So it is essentially, XRP can be used in many categories, while RLUSD only has one feature, which is buy and sell, pretty much. Do you think so? Regarding RLUSD will impact negatively on XRP? No, it will never do that. That there is another option for cross-border payments. I understand that it will bring attention to XRP, but why would anyone use XRP now? Because XRP is a gas token, so it's going to be burned during transactions. Wouldn't it be more expensive? No. XRP is also very cheap to do on transactions. It wouldn't be more expensive in any sort of a way. RLUSD is on the XRP ledger, XRP gas token. And in terms of XRP being used back and forward, you got to understand CBDCs, wholesale CBDCs, retail CBDCs, the big one. Stable coins are good, but let's not forget the bigger picture. Wholesale CBDC, retail CBDC, domestic payments, international payments, XRP. You're forgetting all of that and just focusing on RLUSD, US dollars. ORL-USD can only be used if another company is going to be using it, or essentially if any other retail section is going to be using it. Wholesale CBDCs and retail CBDCs is pretty much 98% of centralized banks around the world. So don't forget the bigger picture and focus on the smaller picture. ORL-USD is amazing, no doubt about it. But XRP is way above it. Bigger picture. Wholesale CBDCs and retail CBDCs, much more bigger picture. What did I just say about Bitcoin last night? You always said he was a smart guy. Yeah. They are just trying to squeeze every last penny from the working people, pretty much. Nobody, I mean, nobody can play theater politics like the United States of America, not even the UK, brother. Facts. He only made the speech to manipulate the markets because he realized that it's too late for the party so he can buy in. Yes, I'll be honest. Honestly, this is pretty much the Biden administration's last hooray. Okay, this is the Biden administration's last time to manipulate the market space to their sayings. You see, the Biden administration lost the crypto battle, the blockchain battle. They lost it. The Biden administration tried their best to hold back the crypto space in the US, and they failed. They got SEC Chairman Gary Gensler to stifle cryptocurrencies because every time Congress wanted to go against Gary Gensler, the Biden administration would be standing behind Gary Gensler and vetoing Congress. So the Biden administration lost their battle against crypto. The person they chose basically as the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, lost the battle of cryptocurrencies. The FDIC chairman, who was also a part of the Operation Chokehold, is also resigning, so he's lost the battle as well for the SEC. The person that was supposed to be re-voted from the SEC as a commissioner, Caroline Crenshaw, she lost also the battle of cryptocurrencies. This was pretty much the Biden administration's last hooray of stifling the crypto space because they can't do much anymore. See, the Biden administration is trying to force Ukraine and Russia into a war for their own benefits. For their own benefits, I mean the benefits of the people that funded them. You see, because Ukraine has an immense amount of gas. Like Ukraine is ranking number 1, number 2 in terms of gas around the world. So instead of, gas companies essentially going and, petroleum companies going inside of Ukraine doing contract deals, instead they made it into a war zone. So then later on they could just take their gas at a much more lower discount. But this is pretty much the Biden administration's last hooray at trying to stifle the crypto space by making Jerome Powell come out and completely do a 360 on his previous speech. Because they lost the battle of crypto. They couldn't get Gary Gensler to stifle crypto any longer. They couldn't make the FDIC chairman stifle because they're both resigning. They couldn't get Caroline Crenshaw voted in Congress because Congress didn't want to vote her inside the SEC anymore. And she's worse than Gary Gensler, so she lost the battle as well. The Biden administration is doing everything they can to damage the economy. Everything they can to damage the economy. Let me give you one example. The Biden administration is about to pass a new bill. This bill is 1,500 pages long. Most Americans will never read this bill because it's 1,500 pages long. The attention span of most people around the world because of TikTok is about 60 seconds. The chances of you reading 1,500 pages worth of bills is not possible. But here is a little gist of what the bill is. It's supposed to be a bill that helps the American people, but in reality, it doesn't. That bill is funding for commissioners, it's funding for governors, it's funding for politicians, it's to give them extra pay rises. All of this is embedded between those 1,500 pages to steal more taxpayers' money. But the bill is, let's help the American country, let's help the American people. But inside the bill, it's let's help the politicians fill their greedy pockets even more. You see, the Biden administration, honestly, is doing everything they can to milk America dry before they leave, to start a war if they can, to stifle crypto if they can, to milk America dry if they can before the Biden administration leaves. That's what they're trying to do. And they're going to fail. But isn't that ridiculous? 1,500 pages of how to help the American people, and it's all about how to fill the greedy pockets of politicians. Because they know no one's going to read 1,500 pages. So honestly, the Biden administration is trying to milk America dry, trying to start a war, trying to stifle crypto. They're like anti-American, honestly. They're like traitors of the US. The entire Biden administration are traitors of the US. Because all they cared about was themselves, not the people. Hi, Miles and CMF, Golden Dragon, good to see you as well. How you do? So they basically got Jerome Powell to do a 360 on his speech. He only made a speech to manipulate the markets because he realized it's too late for his party, so he can buy in pretty much. Facts, bro. Let's go, Ray. Hello, Miles and CMF. Mav, good to see you as well. How you doing? Like you said last night, everybody at the same dinner table knew what's going on, so obviously he knew something. Yep. Is RLUSD available to buy for retailers? Yes. You can buy it on MoonPay if you want. Is hurry up, Trump, so we can all start making money. Why also gold reacted in a negative way? I think it's because in general the stock market reacted in a negative way. It's not going to pass. Exactly, it shouldn't. The Biden administration are trying to leave the US in a worse position as possible for Trump to take over. Yes. Did you know the Biden administration has taken down the Trump wall? You know the wall that Trump set up, so between Mexico and America, the wall that Trump set up, so people can't cross America so easily. The Biden administration has taken that wall down pretty much, and they're selling the materials of that wall at a pretty much 90% discount. They're really trying to milk America dry before they leave. These are the people some people voted into power. The Biden administration is trying to sell off the wall between essentially Mexico and America at a 90% discount. They're trying to open the borders even more before Trump comes in. They're trying to create bills to fill greedy politicians' pockets even more with a 1,500 essentially bill. They got Jerome Powell to do a ridiculous speech. They use Gary Gensler to stifle crypto. They use the FDIC chairman to stifle banks so they don't work with crypto companies in the US. They're trying to make a war happen with Putin. Honestly, I've never seen a worse government than that. So Americans should be extremely happy that Trump won this race, because America was about to be milked dry by the Biden administration. If Kamala Harris came in, there'll be nothing left from the US. Honestly, hand on heart to God, if Kamala Harris won the race as the president of the United States, there'll be nothing left in America. Nothing. It'll be just dust. She would have sold off everything. So you're very lucky that Trump won. You have no idea as an American citizen how lucky you are that Trump has won. Why also gold? Biden administration are trying to leave the US in the worst position as possible from Trump takeover. Yes. Miles, a Republican-controlled House passed the bill now. If Biden signs it, he will be responsible, but otherwise the bill isn't a Biden administration effort. Mike Johnson is a Republican and Trump supporter. Yes, but the entire bill. That's what the issue is, the amount of people that are involved in it. Do you know how this bill came into light in the first place? The bill came into light because of the Doge. And by Doge, I mean Vivek Ramsey and Elon Musk. The only reason that this bill came into light was because of Trump, because of people that support Trump, because of the Trump administration that they created, the Doge department. The Doge department that was created by the Trump administration, by Trump himself, is the one that essentially found out that this bill was about to be passed. So it's also the Trump people that are trying to do it. It's the Trump people that revealed this. Vivek Ramsey and Elon Musk were the ones that revealed this, because they were part of Doge, and they investigated this 1,500-page document, and they came out and said, this is what they're trying to pass on the Biden. That's the only reason we know, because of Vivek and Elon Musk, and because of the Doge department that Trump created. Otherwise, we would have never known that. They already failed. They lost the election. End of story. Pretty much. Thank God for that one. How low will the market go before they rebound? Do we have wait till January now until Trump? No, a few days we should be back to normal. I purchased RLUSD on Opal today. Let's go, Scott. That's 100% facts, Miles. They sold the wall at 5 cents on the dollar. That was 3 years ago, yeah. I thought with the launch of RLUSD and the rates coming down, the crypto markets are going to pump, but it's all gone to Pete Tong. Yeah, wrong. Yeah, it's all gone to wrong because the speech. Reporting from Texas in real time, I can confirm the border wall situation is a shame. Thank God Trump won. Come over here and live for 6 months and you'll see exactly how people think. You'll be shocked. I got into a fight today, the dollar store, defending Trump. People are so brainwashed. But now, the positives. To every negative, there's always a positive. So let's consider the positives now. Moving away from the negatives of Jerome Powell's speech and the uselessness of the Biden administration and the stupid bills they're trying to pass, to the world still going towards making a crypto hub, rules and regulations, we're moving forward in blockchain and nobody can stop it. And we're going to start off with Hong Kong. Hong Kong moves forward in becoming a crypto hub with new exchange approvals. The reason why Hong Kong is essentially moving incredibly fast rate is because they know that Trump is still going to do rules and regulations, and they know that Trump is still going to make America the capital crypto hub, and they don't care about Jerome Powell's speech. Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission, SFC, has approved licenses for 4 essentially virtual asset trading platforms under its SWIFT licensing process. The regulator announced this today, noting that issued the license after completing an on-site inspection on the firms. According to the announcements of the 4 essentially platforms approved and deemed to be licensed are Accumulates, GBA, Technology Co. Limited, DFX Labs, Hong Kong Digital Assets EX Limited, and Thousand Wheels Technology Limited. With these firms scaling the first hurdle in the application process, they can start operating within essentially restricted scopes. However, the exchanges still have to complete re-rectifications and actions based on its inspections and pass the vulnerability assessment and penetration test. The director of intermediaries at the SFC in Hong Kong is basically the SEC equivalent of the US. Eric essentially noted that the new approach seeks to expenditure approving digital asset platforms in the city without compromising standards. Hong Kong has been trying to position itself as a crypto hub over the past few years. Eric also went on to say, we aim to strike a balance between safeguarding the industry and interest of investors and facilitating continuous essentially developments for the virtual asset economy in Hong Kong. With the approval of these 4 firms, there are now 7 licensed crypto exchanges, Hong Kong, including OSL, HKVax, and Hashkey, which got their approvals early this year. Although some applications are still waiting for approval, the complexity of the process has already led several major exchanges, including OX and so on, to do. Now, this is likely why Hong Kong's SFC is embracing the SWIFT licensing process instead. Meanwhile, the 4 exchanges still need to pass the second stage before obtaining a full license to aid this process. SFC has amended this circular on the licensings for crypto exchanges by revamping the second phase. Under the new system, the Commission will also focus on whether the exchange's policies and procedures and systems and controls meet regulatory standards and require the exchange to inform these changes. Exchanges will also have to get some sort of an assessment from certified public accountants on whether all of its policies and procedures meet the guidelines for the VATP licensings and the anti-money laundering licenses and illicit activity licensing, so on. The SFC plans to essentially be involved in assessment procedures by requiring essentially arrangements involving exchanges, the regulators, and external assessors. According to the SFC, this will expedite the process by enabling the regulators to engage the senior managements and controllers of exchanges directly. This approach has proven effective in getting the firms to meet the regulatory standards for the first phase, hence its continued adoption after passing the second phase of all restrictions on operations on the exchange will be lifted. So it does seem like essentially that the world is still moving towards crypto assets and so on. And sorry to use the word seems like, because it is. But the good thing is, I'll tell you now. So as Jerome Powell's stupid speech was coming out today, Hong Kong also made their own announcements today that they're still moving towards essentially becoming a crypto hub. They're actually moving their licensing process a lot more quicker because a few companies like OKX, for example, did register with Hong Kong to get a license, but then withdrew their application because they were too slow and too strict. But now Hong Kong said we're not going to be as strict anymore, and we're just going to pass a lot of licenses to get some more exchanges in, because we want to aim for that title of crypto hub, because Trump is about to do it. Now, moving on essentially from Hong Kong still aiming to become a crypto hub to Wall Street, I'm about to tell you what Wall Street's movements and predictions are for 2025. And Wall Street has 5 predictions of what's going to be happening next in 2025. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. Ray, thank you so much for the $5, brother. Brainwashing is a hell of a drug. Thank God Trump won. Facts. Let's go, Ray. Ray, that's going straight towards starting up the hedge fund. The CMF hedge fund, straight towards funding it. Thanks so much for the kind words. Facts on what you said. Thanks so much for $5 for the hedge fund, brother. Yeah. Come over here, Olivia. I got, yeah, any buyer that snaps up that wall should basically go to financial jail on the anti-plagiarism law. I agree. Miles, you did an interview with Coach JV, I think, a long time ago. Where can I find it? I did an interview with Coach JV. No. I've never done an interview with Coach JV. I did an interview with someone. Yes, I remember. I'll send you a video. No problem. I'll send you the link. It's on YouTube, though. Nice one, Rick. Definitely. And play the same game as they do, buy and hold. When they manipulate like today, take a positive and buy more. Soon they will never see XRP and HBAR at these prices. I agree. Facts. Absolute facts. Thank you, Ray Ray. Let's go. Thank you, brother. Ray Ray, absolutely. Is the market crashing right now? Slightly, yes. It will be back to normal. The market always see opportunities of manipulation like this as a buying opportunity. In a few days or by tomorrow, the market will be in a positive movement. Now, Wall Street. Wall Street's relationship, essentially, Wall Street's relationship with Bitcoin will transform, and cryptocurrencies will transform in 2025. Here are 5 predictions of what's going to be happening in 2025 under a Trump administration. A prediction coming from Wall Street. So when Michael Saylor announced MicroStrategy's conversion of $250 million in treasury reserves to buy essentially Bitcoin in August 2020, Wall Street's analysts dismissed it as reckless gambling, superior to cash. Saylor declared of Bitcoin at the time, drawing skepticism from traditional banking circles. Yet today, those same banks that essentially said MicroStrategy is gambling, that sneered at Bitcoin's corporate adoption, are now scrambling to participate in Bitcoin lending and Bitcoin borrowing services as they race to capitalize on its superior characteristics as institutional grade collateral and a thriving product market fit. Traditional collateral such as real estate requires manual appraisals, subject to valuations and complex legal frameworks that may essentially vary by jurisdiction. Bitcoin, by contrast, offers instant verification of collateral, backing through public blockchains, data's 24/7 real-time settlements and liquidation capabilities, uniform quantity regardless of essentially geographically or counterparties, and the ability to enforce lending terms programmatically. When a lender realizes that they can instantly verify and potentially liquidate Bitcoin collateral at 3 a.m. on a Sunday while the real estate sits there waiting for manual appraisals, subject valuations, and potential evictions, there will be no going back. So essentially they're realizing that, well, hang on a minute, crypto, they're just realizing to themselves, essentially Wall Street is realizing to themselves that, hang on a minute, crypto actually seems better going forward in 2025, and more institutions and banks will be involved in crypto because it's easier to borrow against crypto assets than it is traditional assets. So if you want to, borrow against your property, you would have to get an appraisal to come around, and that could be, very different, essentially jurisdiction to jurisdiction, and it takes a long time procedure before you can get some sort of appraisal on your property before you can borrow against it. But if you want to borrow against crypto assets, there's a 24/7 market space. You can do it anytime. You don't need appraisals. You don't need somebody to come and look at your wallet and go, can we borrow you money? It's on the blockchain. So therefore, they're saying Wall Street institutions and banks are thinking, yeah, 2025, we're definitely going to get involved in crypto assets. Traditional banking bends the knees to Bitcoin and crypto assets. Traditional banking bends the knee to crypto assets. MicroStrategy's MSTR approach fundamentally altered how public companies view Bitcoin as a treasury asset and crypto assets in general. Rather than simply holding Bitcoin, the firm has pioneered a treasury model of essentially leveraging public markets to amplify its crypto positions, issuing convertible notes essentially at the market equity and offering to finance purchases of Bitcoin. This strategy has allowed MicroStrategy to essentially significantly outperform its spot Bitcoin ETFs by harnessing the same financial engineering that made traditional banks powerful, but with Bitcoin as an underlying asset instead of traditional financial instruments and real estate. As a part of the results, one of the predictions for 2025 is that MSTR will announce a 10-for-1 stock split to further its market shares, and will allow many more investors to essentially purchase shares and option contracts. MicroStrategy's playbook demonstrates how deeply Bitcoin has penetrated traditional corporate finance. It also, Wall Street predicts that the financial services built around Bitcoin and crypto assets are set to explode in popularity as long-term holders and new investors look to get more out of their positions. We expect to see a rapid growth in crypto assets, collateralized loans, and yield-generating products for crypto essentially holders worldwide in 2025. The market's going to explode in cryptocurrencies worldwide in 2025, prediction from Wall Street. Moreover, there is almost a poetic answer to why Bitcoin-backed loans have become so popular. They are true representations of financials, with business owners and medallions facing the same collateral requirements, interest rates as one as Madrid. Each person's Bitcoin carries identical properties, verification standards, and liquidation processes. This standardization essentially strips away the arbitrary risk of premiums and historically imposed on borrowers in emerging markets. Traditional banks marketed as global reach for decades while maintaining vastly different lending standards across regions. Now, Bitcoin-backed lending exposes this inherent efficiency for what it is, a relic of essentially inadequate financial systems. 2. Borders form as capital flows freely. Nations are entering a new era of competition for Bitcoin businesses and cryptocurrency capital. We expect to see new tax incentives, especially targeting Bitcoin investors and businesses in 2025. These will happen alongside fast-track visa programs for crypto entrepreneurs and regulatory frameworks designed to essentially attract companies to enter the crypto space. Nations historically essentially competed for manufacturing bases or regional headquarters. Now they compete essentially for Bitcoin mining operations, trading venues, and custody infrastructure. El Salvador's Bitcoin treasury's position represents early experimentations with nation-state businesses, essentially Bitcoin reserves. With experimental, their moves of their recent proposals for US strict Bitcoin reserve focuses on traditional financial centers to confront Bitcoin's role in the sovereign finance. Other nations will also study and attempt to replicate these frameworks, preparing their own initiatives to attract Bitcoin-denominated capital flows. 3. Banks race against obstacles. In debt markets, necessity drives innovation. Public companies now routinely tap bond markets and convertible notes to finance Bitcoin-related transactions or crypto-related transactions. The practice has transformed Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies from a speculative asset into a cornerstone of corporate treasury management. Companies like Marathon Digital Holdings and Similar Scientific have been successful in following MicroStrategy's lead, and the market has rewarded them. This is the most essentially important signal for treasury managers and CEOs. Bitcoin's got their attention now. Meanwhile, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency lending markets have come a long way over the last 2 years. With the deadwood being cleared away, serious institutional lenders now demand proper collateral segregations, transparent custody arrangements, and conservative loans to value. This standardization of risk management practices attracts precisely the type of institutional capital that previously sat on the sidelines. More regulatory clarity out of the US should open the doors for more banks to get involved in crypto financial products. This will benefit consumers the most, with new capital and competition driving the rates down and making essentially Bitcoin or crypto assets backed loans even more compelling. 4. Bitcoin and crypto M&A intensifies. As regulatory clarity emerges through SAB 121 resolutions addressing crypto custody and other guidance, banks will face critical choice. build or buy their way into the growing market of crypto assets. As a result, we predict at least one of the top 20 banks, US banks, will acquire a crypto business in the coming year. Banks will want to move fast, and development timelines for cryptocurrency infrastructures stretch beyond competitive windows. While established firms already process billions in monthly volumes through battle-tested systems, these operational platforms represent years of specialized developments that the banks cannot rapidly replicate. The acquisition premium shrinks against the opportunity cost of delayed market entries. The conflicts of essentially operational maturity, regulatory clarity, and strict necessities creates natural conditions for the banking industry and acquisitions of cryptocurrency capabilities. These moves mirrors essentially the previous financial technology integration patterns in which banks historically acquired electronic trading platforms rather than building internal capabilities. And 5, public markets validate crypto infrastructure and Bitcoin infrastructure. The cryptocurrency industry is poised for a breakthrough year in public markets. We expect to see at least one high-profile crypto initial public offerings essentially exceeding $10 billion in valuations in the US. Major digital asset companies have built sophisticated institutional service layers with revenue streams that now mirror essentially those of traditional banks, processing billions in daily transactions, managing substantial custody operations with rigorous compliance frameworks, and generating stable fee incomes from regulated activities. The next chapter of finance will therefore be written not by those who resist this change, but by those who recognize their very survival depends on embracing it. Strong words to finish that off on Wall Street. The next chapter of finance will therefore be written by not those who resist this change. The next chapter of finance will not be written by those who go against crypto, but the next chapter of finance will be written by those who are with crypto moving forward, essentially. So, as much as, honestly, Biden administration or Jerome Powell or anybody wants to keep on coming out and manipulating the market space, then manipulation is coming to an end. Even Wall Street does see through their BS. Honestly. So, as much as Jerome Powell wants to make moronic speeches, comparing Bitcoin to gold and now comparing it to pretty much nothing and saying, or crypto assets in general, they don't see the point. And people around them stating essentially that rules and regulations aren't coming in the US and Trump won't be able to make America the capital of crypto. Wall Street has other ideas. Wall Street actually thinks, yes, Trump can make America the capital of crypto. And Wall Street finishing off strong by saying essentially the next chapter of finance will not be written by those who essentially resist crypto assets, but instead the next chapter of finance will be written by those who are with crypto assets. So yeah, honestly, as much as they want to stifle crypto for the last month or something, Wall Street doesn't see it that way. They see that Trump is coming through with the regulations no matter what. And things are going to move according to plan. Now, also, on the topic of Wall Street's positivity inside the market space, as I said, we're moving away from that negative speech Jerome Powell made to the positive space. BlackRock. As the market was sliding down, this is what BlackRock was doing. BlackRock's ETF makes historical blockchain-settled bond purchases. As per the essentially latest Bloomberg reports, BlackRock shares iShares Short Maturity Bond ETF, also known as MIR, just made a historic purchase of essentially bonds issued and settled entirely on blockchain. The fund was founded in 2015 and has roughly $750 million in client assets. BlackRock was doing testings on bonds. They also had another thing happening, which is a little bit towards the end, I'll tell you. But the securities were issued by the city of Quincy, Massachusetts, in April and underwritten by JP Morgan Chase & Co. Used on applications on its private permission blockchain essentially based platform to facilitate the sale. Notably, it was the first deal where essentially MIR debt was purchased, settled, and held on the blockchain on the platform, completely bypassing traditional methods. Switzerland was the first one to do this. Switzerland was the first one to do bonds, and bonds essentially in timelines and deadlines using smart contracts, and it was all successful. BlackRock and JP Morgan just did their first one, also very successful. BlackRock is the first investor to purchase a portion of the deal. The Quincy transaction involved in $6.5 million in debt purchased by BlackRock. Notably, the city of Quincy essentially made waves earlier this year when it issued bonds using blockchain technology instead of traditional systems. JP Morgan's essentially blockchain platform, Digital Debt Services, was a part of this center of this innovation. And the use of blockchain throughout the life cycle of bonds is just one example of potential for this technology to transform the capital markets, said Pat, the head of bonds group at BlackRock. Honestly, this is what I'm saying. As much as Jerome Powell of the Biden administration want to stifle cryptocurrencies and say it's never going to happen, and then you have companies like BlackRock, the same time Jerome Powell is doing his ridiculous speech, companies like BlackRock doing more testings, getting more results of, wow, we really can change this traditional market space to a blockchain space. And also you have the Wall Street speech as well. But this transaction marks a significant moment for the bond markets and is testament to BlackRock's dedication to innovation when it comes to blockchain. The mirror was essentially updated to allow fund to invest into money bonds settled on JP Morgan's application of digital debt services, according to the US SEC filings dated December 17th. The firm updated its essentially ETFs to allow blockchain-based bond investments, and this required the filings with the US Securities Exchange Commission, which also outlined the risk like limited liquidity and the possibility of bugs or errors inside the blockchain application. Some issuers and underwriters have also been exploring the use of blockchain technology in the muni markets. For example, the Michigan State University Board of Trustees considered a deal registered with digital platforms provided by Goldman Sachs. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust also launched regarding the earlier this year, is smashing the records. Over the past days, iBit has pulled in $740 million in essentially inflows and now manages over $51 billion in assets and making it one of the fastest growing ETFs in history. Do you want to know essentially what essentially has happened in the last 48 hours? So now going 48 hours back, while we were waiting for the Jerome Powell speech, while Jerome Powell made his speech, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has made a big push into major cryptocurrencies. As per the data from Arkham Intelligence, the company of BlackRock has brought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin within just the last 48 hours. Starting now, going back 48 hours. BlackRock has brought $1 billion. And Jerome Powell made a speech that the last speech he made was Bitcoin can be compared to digital gold. This speech was very different, completely against Bitcoin or crypto assets, which pushed the markets down. At the same time, he's doing rate cuts, which should push the market up. And BlackRock brought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Obviously, there's no coincidence there whatsoever. That's British sarcasm there for you. Now, Deutsche Bank is what we're going to talk about next. Deutsche Bank's Layer 2 blockchain to public and permission, says tech partners. So Deutsche Bank is doing testings on essentially blockchain. We're going to be talking about that now. But before we actually talk about that, let's consider the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Honestly, the people around Jerome Powell saying basically Trump cannot pull this off and Bitcoin has no future. And at the same time, rate cuts pushes the market down, and BlackRock's buying 1 billion Bitcoins. Obviously, there's no coincidence there. It was Crypto 6J. Yes, that's what it was. Thank you, Shelly, for that. Yes, that's why I did the interview with. Can you please, no. Miles, you should do more of those interviews. I know you don't have time, a lot of time, but they were good to listen to. I'll do more. No problem. Hi, Miles and CMF. Peg, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? What will happen in 2140 after mining is completed? What will happen in 2140 after mining is completed? Very simple answer, actually. Very simple answer. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's just see if I'm going to be alive for 2140. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Now, Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank's layer 2 blockchain, essentially. BlackRock already owns everything. Now they want all the BTC as well. They pretty much want everything. You're right. Deutsche Bank's layer 2 blockchain to be public and permissioned, says their tech partners. The banking giant Deutsche Bank is building out a layer 2 roll-up network on Ethereum for tokenization or for payments, though, with essentially ZK Sync technology developed by Matter Labs. Bloomberg has reported on this matter today, talking about how Deutsche Bank is doing tokenization projects, and they're essentially trying to get involved in that field, and they're using essentially ZK Sync and an Ethereum rollup. The chain will be a public permission layer 2. The head of business developments at Matter Labs told CoinDesk. When asked to elaborate, he referred to a reporter to another participant in the project, Mito Blockchains, which did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Generally, public permission means anyone can see what's happening on the network, but only authorized participants can do certain things. The project is a sign of a renowned essentially interest in blockchain technology among institutions. As prices for various cryptocurrencies reach all-time highs, it also echoes the private enterprise blockchains that were in vogue nearly a decade ago. These systems were disconnected from the public chains like Ethereum and Bitcoin, though they seem to be borrowed from the same code. According to the Bloomberg reports, the bank is creating the layer 2 networks in order to address regulatory compliance issues that come with public blockchains in finance. Regulated institutions have to know who they are dealing with, which is hard in completely open networks like the main Ethereum chain. Apparently, Deutsche Bank is building on Ethereum's blockchain when it comes to tokenization, but they realized maybe Ethereum wasn't the best choice. The bank believes that by creating a layer 2 on top of Ethereum, it will improve the speed of transactions as well as address these compliance needs. Also, another issue that the bank ran into while using Ethereum was fees, which I understand. Ethereum has the ridiculous most amount of expensive fees I've ever seen in my entire lifetime for a transaction. When you use Ethereum for payments, it's like going backwards. People think it's expensive to send payments using banking networks. Use Ethereum. It's about 50 times more expensive. The ZK Syncs based rollups could also allow banks to experiment with blockchains and let them select essentially which validators could run said blockchains. Boon Hing Cheng, the Deutsche Bank's Asia Pacific Industries, applied for innovation-led essentially and told Bloomberg, the layer 2 blockchain may also give regulators super admin rights, allowing them to look more deeply inside the movements of funds, Chan said. The blockchain company also announced the layer 2 endeavors on November 6th, but it was little received attention at the time. The chain is currently in test networks and environments, built on ZK Stacks, customizable toolkit that lets developers build their own blockchains based on ZK's technologies. The layer 2 is a part of Dama 2, a multi-chain initiative led by Deutsche Bank. Dama 2, in turn, is a part of Singapore's Monetary Authority's Project Guardian, which is bringing together 24 major financial institutions that are looking into ways to use blockchain to tokenize their assets. Now, it isn't confirmed by any sort of a way that Deutsche Bank is going to continue forward using essentially Ethereum. They originally, essentially, Deutsche Bank, by the way, Deutsche Bank is also a partner of Ripple, but originally, Deutsche Bank did use for payments, though. Deutsche Bank did use Ethereum. They realized it's too expensive, too slow, and it's not really the best chain they should be using for tokenization. So then they decided to do a layer 2 on Ethereum. Maybe that's faster and cheaper. Yeah, they're going to come to the conclusion maybe Ethereum in general was not the best option for a banking system, even if it is tokenization. Honestly, to be fairly honest. And they're not the only ones, to be fair. There's a few institutions and a few banks, even MasterCard realized this as well. So you see, MasterCard was using Ethereum for one of their testings, and they realized that Ethereum makes no sense because the payments are too expensive to send. It's too expensive to receive payments on Ethereum. It's too expensive to send payments on Ethereum when it comes to gas fees. So MasterCard said, well, we're going to scrap Ethereum and we're going to go to Solana instead. I don't know how that's better because Solana can't process transactions at all when it's congested. I don't know why sometimes they make their lives difficult. You could easily use XLM, XDC, HBAR, XRP. It doesn't get congested and the payments go through, and it's cheaper and faster. But eventually they do come to excel. Anyways. All right, I was thinking for my grandchildren. Fair point. If you're going to speak English, at least take your time. I can't understand the word you say, and I speak both languages. Carol, I am speaking English, but I'm speaking very fast. That's what the issue is. If I speak slow, this is 50 pages I'm reading to everyone. But no one knows how many pages I'm reading. So when I'm reading you the news, it's 50 pages I'm reading you every night. And the reason why I speak so fast is because it's 50 pages. If I was going to read slow, we'd be here for about 6-hour live show. So every night I'm reading you 50 pages. It might not look like it, but I am. And I read it very fast so we can get through all of it. It's not a 6-hour live show. So that's why, Carol, that I do read incredibly fast. Good evening, CMF. Susie, good to see you. How you doing? Or morning, depending on where you are around the world. Susie, good to see you. How you doing? So, America. How long will it take for RLUSD to be in all major crypto exchanges? RLUSD is launched on 5 exchanges so far. There's about 4 more listed or coming soon. To be listed on everything, 2025, first quarter to second quarter should be listed on everything. Quarter 1 to quarter 2 of 2025, I would have to say. Now, America. America's stock market hits $64 trillion, larger than the rest of the world combined. I'll tell you why. This is actually quite good news. And why it's relevant to the crypto space. America's stock market has hit an insane $64 trillion, making it bigger than every other stock market in the world combined. In the last 10 years, the US markets added a massive $40 trillion. No other country even comes close. Right now, America's stock markets control 74% of the MSCI of the world index, blowing past the record set in the 1970s. In just 4 years, US equities have doubled in value, essentially raking in $32 trillion. Meanwhile, stock markets in the rest of the world barely moved, adding just $10 trillion. The gap between the US and the rest of the world isn't just wide, it's historical. What's driving essentially all of this growth is tech stock. Companies like Nevada, Microsoft, and Amazon have been powering the US markets, marking up more than half of the S&P 500's gains in 2024 alone. The Nasdaq essentially has gone through the roof thanks to its tech giants and valuations reaching levels no one thought was possible. But it's not just tech anymore. The rally that used to rely on a few big names and companies has essentially spread to other industries. Consumer goods, financials, and energy stocks have all jumped in, showing essentially this is no longer just about Silicon Valley. This year, the Dow Jones Industrial Average blew past 40,000 for the first time ever. The S&P 500 smashed it through the 25 new all-time highs in 2024. The market's growth is being fueled by expectations, and the Federal Reserve will soon cut the interest rates, which they did, but bashed the entire market space. Investors are so confident of that 25 basis points, which is essentially what happened, but he bashed the idea of essentially cryptocurrencies. Now, inflation is cooling and borrowing costs are expected to drop, and Wall Street is swimming in cash, looking for a home. Strong corporate earnings are adding even more fuel to the fire. Despite global essentially challenges, American companies have been consistently posting essentially solid results quarter after quarter. Analysts say this steady performance has been critical in keeping investors' confidence high, even during times of geopolitical tensions and the volatility in other market spaces. The rest of the world, they're not even close. Although essentially equity markets outside the US are worth $61 trillion, still less than America's total on its own. Over the last 10 years, global equity markets outside the US have been crawling with their total value, growing at least essentially half of the pace of America's market space. Even major players like Japan and Europe are far behind. Sure, the Nikkei and the FTSEs have seen some gains, but those gains look tiny compared to the next flood of capitals that's been pouring into the US market space. Investors everywhere are throwing money inside the American markets. And why? Simply because the US markets are reliable and deliver results. Other markets just don't have the same opportunities for growth. Whether it's a slow economies or unstable or essentially unstable governments or even a weak corporate profits, the rest of the world can't keep up. America's stock market is pulling further and further ahead. Okay, why this is important? Because America's market space has reached $64 trillion. That means $64 trillion is about to become tokenized as we go slowly into 2025. $64 trillion market space, and that's just America's stock exchange, is going to become tokenized on the blockchain. We just have to know which blockchain is going to be chosen for that. The reason why I'm saying this is because earlier on in the live, I read the news and I shared essentially some reports from Wall Street and their 5 predictions. And one of the predictions from Wall Street's 5 predictions of 2025 was that the tokenization of markets and how the stock market is going to be blending with essentially a digital market space, and how in terms of borrowing and lending services, it's better for that. Wall Street is saying that blockchain is better in that field than typical, traditional assets like real estate, for example. So markets like that are about to become tokenized. So about $64 trillion is just the US market space, and that will become tokenized. We just have to know later on which blockchain is going to be chosen for that path. But it's about $64 trillion sitting there. Now, the next news we're going to be going through is regarding Crypto.com, which is actually positive news as well. Because Crypto.com is withdrawing their lawsuit with the SEC. Crypto.com decided to sue the SEC instead of waiting for Gary Gensler to sue them. Gary Gensler sent a Wells notice to Crypto.com a while ago, and Crypto.com just decided just to sue the SEC because what's the point of waiting for Gary Gensler to sue them back? Now, the reasonings of why Crypto.com has withdrawn their application completely on suing the SEC and Gary Gensler is because of Donald Trump. You see, Crypto.com went to Mar-a-Lago and essentially did a sit down with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump made Crypto.com realize that there's no point of suing the SEC, because going into January 20th, when he takes his seat and Gary Gensler resigns, we're going to have a new SEC chairman, and there's no point of suing the SEC anymore because they're pro-crypto. So again, as much as Jerome Powell and everybody else from the Biden administration want to stifle crypto and say there's no future in 2025, there's no regulations, and Trump can't do anything about it, well, there's a lot of people that think otherwise. Crypto.com has decided to drop its lawsuit against the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. This announcement comes soon after a meeting between the exchange's CEO and the president-elect Donald Trump at the Mar-a-Lago, essentially. This change could indicate that the exchange wants to work more closely with the new administration. Crypto.com has filed a lawsuit essentially to challenge the SEC's decision to classify some digital assets as securities. This has sparked debates inside the crypto industries. However, analysts believe that the meeting between Crypto.com's CEO and Trump may have influenced this decision. It definitely did. Trump has shown interest in promoting technological innovations and has indicated he supports the growth of crypto and blockchain sectors. This shift also essentially contrasts sharply with the SEC's traditionally strict oversight, often criticized of stifling innovation. With the lawsuit dropped, Crypto.com wants to work closely with new governments, influencing future rules and benefit the industry. Legal experts say that this relationship could give the exchange a smart advantage as it tries to grow its business inside the US. The cryptocurrency exchange filed a lawsuit back in October against Gary Gensler and the SEC and his other 4 commissioners from the SEC. And this legal essentially action came across and it all started from a Wells notice that was sent essentially to Crypto.com, and Crypto.com decided to sue the SEC before they get sued straight after the Wells notice. In another statement, the exchange also emphasizes commitments to maintaining safety, security, and compliance, and that they want to boost their impressive portfolio of 100 regulatory approvals across various jurisdictions, including Ireland, South Korea, and the Netherlands. And Crypto.com also filed a petition with the CFTC in a separate initiative. If Trump fulfills his promises in the crypto sector, the United States will have its first presidential council focused on cryptocurrencies. Experts like Christian Smith from the Blockchain Association believe it could happen quickly, changing how the government works with digital assets. Recall that Trump essentially crypto stance has boosted Bitcoin to record highs and reissued hope for the $100,000 milestones. He promises to ease banking restrictions and treat crypto as a strategic asset, and essentially have supported him because the crypto sector has supported him in this field as well. However, consumer groups caution against letting the industry regulate itself, a concern that many influence the council structure and agenda. So once again, even though, honestly, as much as stifling they want to do on the last few days, because it is the last few days pretty much of the Biden administration. I mean, you could count as the last few days anyways, because they lost the entire race. But on their last few days, let's just assume they can do whatever they want. They could get Jerome Powell to do a ridiculous speech. They can get Jerome Powell, the people around Jerome Powell, to make ridiculous speeches and how Trump will never achieve anything and so on inside the crypto field. But Wall Street thinks otherwise. After having sit-downs of Donald Trump, crypto firms are withdrawing their lawsuits against the SEC because they know what's about to happen and so on. Now, the next news I want to tell you about is very different to what we've been talking about now, because it's about Ledger. So moving away from the market space just for a second, and I want to share you some news about Ledger. There's a new scam going around, which I don't want anybody to fall for. It's a new Ledger scam. And apparently there's a lot of people that are actually falling for it. Scammers impersonate Ledger in a phishing scam. So scammers are creating a lot of fake websites that look like Ledger, genuinely replicates of Ledger's website. And a lot of people are falling for this. And they're essentially emailing out to people. So if you have received an email from Ledger suggesting that essentially your account has been compromised and you need to log in right away, or you need to essentially signature a transaction or so on, please do not click on random links. The only reason some people are falling for it is because the email address looks genuine-ish and people assume it's Ledger, but then when they go to the website, it actually looks like the Ledger website, like a full-on replicate. So please be careful. Please don't click on random links if you do receive any sort of emails from these types of scammers. It's actually getting quite bad. So Ledger users are dealing with a clever, very clever phishing scam that takes advantage of the busy holiday season online. Scammers are pretending to be official Ledger messengers to steal users' recovery phrases, which are important for accessing their crypto wallets. A phishing campaign noted by Bleeping Computers starts with emails called, so this is the type of email that you might receive. It's a scam email. It's not from Ledger and so on. And this is the title of the emails you would receive. Security alert, data breach may expose your recovery phrase. These messages are wrongly saying that a data breach has put users' recovery phrase at risk, leading them to a fake Ledger website that looks so real and is hosted by Amazon's web services, which makes it even more legit. When users go to the fake website, they are asked to essentially do a security check by typing in their recovery phrases. The site incorrectly confirms these phrases, no matter if they are wrong or right, and phishing users to keep attempting until they accidentally give their right information. When scammers get these recovery phrases, they can take over their victims' wallets and causing them a massive, big financial loss. Ledger has confirmed a new data breach, but the company has stated that it will never ask users for the 24-word recovery essentially phrases. So it's got so bad that Ledger has decided to come out essentially and talk about this matter, because the websites look genuinely real. This warning follows earlier phishing incidents, especially after the 2020 breach that revealed customers' data in Ledger. In December 2023, there was also another incident where Ledger's essentially connectors library was exploited, leading to significant financial losses. Phishing losses inside the cryptocurrency sector dropped by 53% in November 2024, but this new scam shows that attackers are changing their methods. So this is the new wave of scams. Security experts stress that crypto investors must stay alert, particularly during risky times like the holidays. In the end, it's up to each person to protect their own digital assets and their wallets, highlighting the importance of taking steps to avoid scams. Yes, it is your responsibility to, safeguard your crypto assets. And please don't fall for any sort of fake emails that pretend to be from Ledger. They're actually getting very good at it because Ledger is talking about it themselves, of how legit the website looks, of how legit the emails look, and people are falling for it, and people's wallets are getting emptied out badly. Now, moving on, essentially from that announcement from Ledger themselves of how this new scam is really making people empty out their wallets, to Elon Musk. Can Elon Musk become the next president of the United States? And what will be the benefits? Apparently, there's rumors going around from higher up people that Elon Musk could be a potential candidate for the 2028 president of the United States. Some people might say essentially Elon Musk can't be the president of the United States because he's not born in the US and he's born in South Africa, and that's therefore not allowed. But apparently he can. And there are rumors going around that some adjustments can make that happen. So before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. And I'll talk about the benefits that I could bring to the table, especially for the crypto space. If that's a possibility. And by the looks of it, it could be a possibility. How long will it take for audios to already know? Good morning, Miles and CMF. Sorry I'm late. Had an appointment. No problem. Good to see you. How you doing? Is it true that iOS coins have till November 2025 to be compliant instead of March 2025? If it states it now on their website, then yes. Can you see? So forget about what everyone's saying. Check on the ISO website. If it says that, then yes. But then again, also each central bank, the Bank of International Settlements would be the best place to check it out. You know what? Direct message me. I'll take a look at the Bank of International Settlements and let you know. Can you see XRP going up and up in price for the next 30 days, or will it stabilize at a certain price? Please look into your crystal ball before. Sorry. Do I see XRP going up and up in price for the next 30 days? What I would say is the closer we get to January 20th, the more the market will rise in general because of the excitement of Trump coming into power, is what I would say. So the closer we get to January 20th, Trump taking his seat, the more the market should react in a positive way because of the excitement of Trump taking his seat as the next president of the United States, January 20th. That's what I would say. In general, for all types of crypto assets, we'll see a rise in price the closer we get to January 20th. Your curly hair is captivating me. No problem, mate. Anytime. Subscribe to the channel and ding the notification bell. Smash the like button. And also, just a heads up, anybody that's promoting pudgy penguins, yeah, that's a scam. Don't fall for that. Anybody that's promoting pudgy penguins, crypto project, don't waste your money on that. Not financial advice in any sort of a way, but it's a scam. Because there was someone inside the comment section who said, pudgy penguins, it's a scam, don't fall for it. Nope, it will be Bobby. Hey, Miles, Millie, good to see you as well. How you doing, Millie? How you been? How long do you think before the markets will start to correct itself? By tomorrow in a few days. Or latest would be Monday. Do you trust CoinLedger to track? Do you trust CoinLedger to track crypto in one location? CoinLedger? No. You familiar with? Now, Elon Musk. Can Elon Musk become the next? I prefer Bobby Kennedy over Elon. You prefer Bobby Kennedy over Elon. Okay, now it makes some sense. Oh, Kennedy in general. Kennedy Jr., yeah. Elon Musk. How Elon Musk Doge could help him make history and become the next US president. Apparently, they're saying that because of Elon Musk creating this whole Doge department in the US with Vivek Ramsey, it could lead to Doge and then Elon Musk for presidency. And I do believe that a lot of people will probably vote for Elon Musk. So, Mr. Elon Musk doesn't do small dreams. His name has become a symphony with tearing essentially apart the old and building the new which makes him essentially so beloved in the crypto community. Now, with his proposed Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, Elon could extend his ambitions straight to the Oval Office. Also, at the end of this, let me know, would you vote for Elon Musk? Even if you're not a US citizen, put inside the comment section, would you vote for Elon Musk if there was a chance of him becoming president after Trump? Would you do that, yes or no, in general? We are aware that Elon has said before that he would never run for office. But guess who used to say the same thing? President-elect Donald Trump. It's true. Trump said a very long time ago that he would never run for office, but then he ran twice. Elon Musk clearly isn't content, essentially, with the running Tesla, sending rockets to Mars, or making memes on X. He wants to reshape the American government one efficiency at a time. The billionaire poured over $119 million into Trump's war chest and rallied voters through his social media platform. Voters through his social media platform, making him the largest donor, not just this cycle, but in Trump's entire political history. Now, with Trump essentially back in the White House, Elon is becoming a power player in how the country is run, carving out space for his business empires while also redefining how governments could operate. In fact, Trump has also crowned him the nation's first buddy. The Doge play, Elon's big power grab. Doge is Elon Musk's brainchild. While the name is an inside joke to us inside the crypto community, the concept is actually pretty serious. Elon envisions a federal agency that slashes bureaucratic, essentially red tapes, and recognizes government operations to work more like businesses. He claims that this could save billions, but DOGE also conveniently positions Elon to essentially influence federal policies directly tied to his companies. DOGE could help SpaceX, Tesla, and other Elon ventures secure government contracts more easily. Regulations that have slowed Tesla's autonomous vehicles and tech, or SpaceX's satellite developments, might disappear overnight. Experts that are already raising alarms, Stephen Diamond, a law professor, called Elon's relationship with the federal government essentially unprecedented, and warned about what happens when one person's interest aligns too closely with the public policy. But Elon doesn't seem bothered. Elon Musk's fingerprint is all over Trump's win. Elon's role in Trump's 2024 victory wasn't subtle. He turned X into a political weapon, amplifying Trump's message to millions of users and drowning out opposition voices. One of Elon's most essentially audacious decisions was a $1 million daily giveaway for registered voters in key swing states. Critics called it unethical, but Elon's lawyers brushed it off, and the cash kept on flowing. The strategy worked. Young men and demographics essentially of Elon has a strong grip on showed up to drive the votes for support for Trump. The numbers don't lie. Trump's victory in the battleground states was a razor thin, and Elon Musk's influence essentially likely tipped the scales. But Elon's tactics were just about cash and social media, weren't just about cash and social media. If we're being entirely honest, his platform was breeding ground for essentially information. And the CEO of the Center of Counter essentially Digital Hate called X a hellscope of disinformation under Elon Musk's control. Elections officials in states like Michigan were forced to debunk Elon's claims in real time, but the damage was done. My point of view, X is not misinformation in any sort of a way. Any other news channel around the world is misinformation. X, not misinformation. The tax code hustle, Elon's billions on the line. When Elon officially joins the Trump administration, his financial gains will be massive. Under Section 1043 of the Federal Tax Code, public officials can defer capital gains taxes when selling assets to avoid conflicts of interest. For Elon, those whose net worth is $347.8 billion in late 2024, this could mean billions in savings. Critics argue that Elon's potential role in Trump's administration is less about public service and more about self-service. Relaxed regulations could open the floodgates for Tesla and SpaceX that dominate their markets. Federal contracts with which SpaceX already relies on heavily could flow even more freely to Doge if implemented. And here is another thing. Elon Musk can't legally run for president right now. However, The US's constitution requires the president to be a natural born citizen, and Elon was born in South Africa and is not a US citizen, and therefore shouldn't qualify as the next president of the United States. It's a roadblock essentially Elon Musk can't hack this way through. Not without a constitutional amendment, and changing the constitution is a small feat, but it's not impossible. It just requires approval from 2/3 of Congress by essentially 3/4 of the state legislators. Though even Trump, with all his influence, will struggle to pull it off, they're assuming. But let's all think back to when Trump himself first announced he was running for president. How ridiculous was that when Trump said he was going to essentially go for president? I didn't think it was ridiculous, but apparently the news does think so. No one took him seriously. No one thought that this was really a possibility of somebody like Trump coming in and taking the presidential race, but he did it twice. And it was done many more near impossible things since then too. With this year's election being essentially one of the biggest wins that has ever seen in the American history, with Republicans taking everything, there's a chance that Elon Musk is positioning himself for the next president of the United States of America. And he could be running for 2028 president. Although Elon doesn't seem to want his influence to stop at America's borders, his secret meetings also with foreign officials include the Iranian UN ambassadors clearly shows a man with geopolitical agendas. It makes sense he is the richest person on the planet and to some extent a pretty decent human being, the news said. Of course, the meetings have raised eyebrows in Washington, but Elon Musk defenders argue that his internal ties are an asset, not a liability. Whether it's negotiating satellite launches with foreign governments or exploring crypto adoptions on a global scale, Elon is always playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Either way, the next 4 years are going to give Elon Musk all the time he needs to prove himself to the American people, a public that currently doesn't like him as much as Trump. That's a lie, because Republicans want everything, so did Trump. But come on, if Congress could be convinced into essentially agreeing to dump America's gold for Bitcoin by the time they start tweeting Musk 2028, the idea is going to seem much more, essentially less ludicrous than it does right now. The way the news sees it is that DOGE is Elon's chance to prove to the American people that they can trust him. He'd make the US government efficient and transparent. If he plays his cards right, he really can become the most powerful person in the world on all fronts. So, they're essentially saying the only reason Elon Musk is a part of this department called DOGE to essentially find out if politicians and governors and so on are using taxpayers' money for no apparent reason. They're saying that Elon Musk created this department so he can build trust with the American people that is here to stop government officials from using your taxpayers' money to build trust with the American people so he can get votes coming in 2028 to become the next president of the United States. Where's the bad part? Honestly, he created a department to get rid of useless politicians, to get rid of greedy politicians that do nothing day in and day out, that take money from taxpayers and do nothing. So where's the bad part? In my point of view, Elon Musk created a department to get rid of useless politicians and useless government departments that use taxpayers' money for no apparent reason. There's no bad part to this. Him running for president, my point of view, why not? He's intelligent enough to do it. Honestly, name anybody else as a politician that's more intelligent than Elon Musk. Name any politician that is more intelligent than Elon Musk. You can't. It's not possible. Not a single president or a prime minister in this planet is more intelligent than Elon Musk. He's intelligent. He knows how to run a business. Why not? Running a country is like running a business. He's against the idea of essentially censoring people. He did an interview with the BBC. He did an interview with CBS. He did an interview with CMB. He did many interviews where they will keep on telling him to censor X. And he says no. Every other platform on social media censors what you say, except X. The man stands by freedom of speech since the day he brought X until now. You could be against Elon Musk. You could be a person that hates Elon Musk, and you can still use X and say that to him, and he won't ban you. But if you go on platforms like Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, and you say things against Instagram, they'll ban you. But you can say bad things about Elon Musk on his own platform, and he'll let you speak. You know why? Because it's called freedom of speech. But that doesn't apply to other platforms. If I go on TikTok and start making things that's bad about TikTok, videos that's bad, I'll get banned on TikTok. Why I'm saying this is because I actually am. If I say bad things about, if I make a page just belittling Instagram, I'll get banned on Instagram. If I make a page on Facebook just belittling Facebook, I'll get banned on Facebook. But if I make a page that's bad about essentially X, freedom of speech, it doesn't remove you. You can make a page that just says anti-Elon Musk. He won't remove you. So he hates the idea of censorship. He's intelligent enough. He knows how to run a business. And he gives you freedom of rights and freedom of speech. Two things that really don't exist in this world anymore. But what's your perspectives on that? Would you say yes if Elon Musk did run for presidency, or would you say no to that completely? Just out of curiosity. Just think about it. Let that one sink in. The man stands for freedom of speech and freedom of rights because he's proven he does. Whenever there's a crisis around the world, genuinely, whenever there's a crisis around the world, Elon Musk will use his satellites to provide free internet for those people. He will use his money to do some sort of donations to those people. When Ukraine needed money, America sent them billions of dollars. When there was a situation in America and a flood happened, people got $750. The American government paid out $750 on a loan. So Elon Musk helps people that are in need. He provides free internet in geopolitical tension countries. He stands by freedom of speech. He stands by human rights. And he created a department in the biggest government in the world to get rid of useless politicians and useless spendings. So what does everybody think? Yes or no? Would you vote for Elon Musk? And if no, who do you think would be better than him? Who do you think is better than Elon Musk? Who do you think is, just a quick answer, who do you think is better than Elon Musk? If your answer is no, who do you think is better than Elon Musk in terms of smarter than Elon Musk? Who do you think is smarter than Elon Musk? Who do you think stands more with freedom of speech and human rights and so on? And you can't choose Trump because most likely this is going to be his last term. And Trump, amazing, amazing. Honestly, when it comes to Trump, top notch, best president ever. Excluding Trump from this equation because most likely he's not going to run again. Would you choose essentially Elon Musk? Yes or no? And if not, who do you think is a better candidate? Who do you think is more smarter, more intelligent, stands more about freedom of speech? Let's see what everyone's answers are. I think this is when people get a little bit divided, but the good thing is about the CMF, we also agree with freedom of speech. Everybody has different perspectives in the side of CMF as well, which is why I love, because everyone's very different with their thought pattern. But let's see. Facts, stay away from pudgy penguins. This is garbage. Shelly putting in over time, moderating on YouTube, outstanding. Yes, Shelly, thank you so much for all the moderating that you do on YouTube, on the live right now, by getting rid of bad people. Thank you for that, Shelly. So Miles, I said next, can you see XRP going up next 30 years, or will it stabilize in certain price? Oh, can I see XRP going up in the next 30 years? Hell yes. Hell yes. I would vote for Elon in a second any day, is what Ray said. So Ray would vote for Elon in a second any day. Mike said yes, he would vote for Elon Musk as well. Mickey said no to president for Musk, but yes to Vivek for president. Okay, fair enough. Vivek is also a good candidate. I think the next 4 years are going to reveal his real side, and he is also who I believe he is. Yes, I would vote for him. Kamal says he would vote for Elon Musk. Shelley says, I'm not sure it would be good to have Elon as president. He would have too much power. Fair enough. Joe says, yes, I would vote for him. He's a businessman first, so he would be good for the US. Fair point. Ray says 100. Let's go. Mav says, I'm afraid Musk as president might be too efficient and create more unemployment with all his robots. Fair enough. Lena says, I love him, but no. He would start preparing one-way tickets for everyone to go next planet and make AI robots to start the zombie apocalypse. It's an interesting one, Lena. JP says, but Elon Musk cannot ever be president of the United States. Miles, he wasn't born here. He cannot be president. He can be, technically. So all you need to change the law, believe it or not, all you need to change the law for Elon Musk to actually become president is you need two-thirds. You need two-thirds of votes to change the law. If you get two-thirds of votes, you can change the law, and anybody who's not born in the US can become president. Elon Musk is getting money for his rockets. That's why he's in it. Exactly. Running a country is like running a business. You are right. Let's go, Peg. But he was not born in here. He can't be president. But you can't say yes or no because he can't run. He can. You need two-thirds of votes. You need two-thirds of votes for Elon Musk. For anybody that's not a US citizen to become president. You need a vote from a president. You need two-thirds of votes from Congress and legislators, and then it can be approved. It's not impossible. It's just laws. I think it might be much power for one man. Too much power for one man. Interesting, because already it's one person that runs every country. So how can it be too much power for one man? Do you mean it's too much power for him, is what you're trying to say? Is he helping personally? I'm not really sure on that matter. Depends who he's running against. Fair enough, Ghost Burner. Let's Go just says yes. Let's go, let's go. 100% for Elon. There is no thinking even 1 second for me. Let's go, Kali. You, President Miles, will I run for presidency? I'm not sure I will, but I appreciate the comments. Can't say yes or no because you can't. I'd vote for Miles. Let's go, Ghostbunner. Thanks for the kind words as well. For God's sakes, we had Sleepy Joe for 4 years. We had Obama. We had to put up with George W. Bush. Elon all the way. Let's go, Funky Brother. JD Vance. JP saying JD Vance. He's a good candidate as well. Noel says, I don't want the world to be controlled by one person. The world is technically controlled by a few people, but okay, I'll let that one slide. I would definitely vote for a smart businessman because we have seen the alternative for many decades, which is a fair point. Mav says, but Musk could be given a chance, definitely. Shelley says, definitely his brains and business sense is a bonus, but I'd be concerned about the conflict of interest with his many businesses. Fair enough. I'm not sure who would be a better alternative. Also fair enough. With all their money, Elon Musk he should do more for the South African people suffering in his country of birth with basic needs, homelessness, food, etc. which is also true. It's a fair point from Lena as well. Elon got to buy his clothes. Elon got to buy his clothes with no donations. Lol. Yeah, he pretty much, yes. That will never happen. He wasn't born yet. It's a possibility. Saying greetings from Ukraine. Is saying greetings from Ukraine. As you said, Miles, politicians don't sod all anyway. They are useless, pretty much. Wrong, that would never happen if the United States is a constitution, but it would never happen. Hey, Dan citizenships, it will never pass trust. Even Elon Musk said himself he would not run because he wasn't born here and he would not get the vote. That is true. Elon Musk did say a very long time ago that he will never run for president of the United States. And he also said that he will never get involved in any sort of political matters. But now he's got a political matter that he's doing. He's a department, he's created a department inside the biggest government in the entire world, the US, essentially. So him going from I will never get involved in politics or become a president to now owning a government department in the biggest government in the world, slowly maybe, or Donald Trump saying he will never run for president and he got elected twice. So you never know how the world might change. Do Republicans hold more than 2/3 of the seats in Congress? No, but you can get the other side to vote. It's easy to get politicians to vote for you. Do you know how you get congressmen and politicians to vote for you? Donations. It could be under the table or on the table. Honestly, you want to get politicians to pass any bill, just pay them off. Obviously, pay them off from these donations. But it's very easy to get politicians on your side. I've told everyone this before. Politicians is like Oliver Twist. Everybody remembers Oliver Twist when they were younger. There was a film where the kid goes up with a plate and he says, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" That's basically what politicians are. They beg. Politicians. All you have to do is just pay them off. They'll pretty much do anything for you. Now, moving on essentially from the presidency of Elon Musk back to the Trump administration and JP Morgan. So earlier on today, we discussed matters of Jerome Powell's ridiculous speech and how he went completely back on his words. And the people around them also went back on their words too as well. And there are some words going around that Trump is never going to be able to bring regulations and make America the capital hub of crypto, and Bitcoin will never become a reserve asset. Everybody thinks differently because the higher up people thinks extremely differently. And the only people that are negative are basically everybody who supports the Trump administration. Anybody that supports the Trump administration thinks negatively regarding Trump, regarding what Trump's going to achieve. So here it is. Trump administration has already unlocked a new era for US crypto, JP Morgan. This is a perspective come from JP Morgan. So Trump's era has already unlocked essentially a new space for the crypto space. Donald Trump's victory in November in terms of presidential elections is already ushering in a new era for crypto in the US. JP Morgan said in a report today, noting that the total cryptocurrency market cap has jumped about 65% since his re-election. JP Morgan went on to say, not only does this new administration bring a sense of crypto friendliness, but it also has shown the eagerness to promote the asset class. And this was JP Morgan's analyst, Kenneth. The incoming administration has shown a willingness to talk about crypto market regulations and about how to keep the future developments in the US moving forward. The report said, adding that the president-elect has already nominated a number of people who will take part in the formation of crypto policies and enforcements. This means a floor has been established and that the worst regulatory environment in crypto is in the past, and that the ecosystem is now expected to become a safer, more transparent, and more productive industry from a regulatory perspective from this point on because of Trump. Still, these positive tailwinds could take some time to effect JP Morgan cautioned that the market might not see policy impacts for at least 9 to 12 months into Trump's term. Trump's nominations for Commodities Futures Trading Commission CFTC chair is one piece missing from this administration pro-crypto agenda. The Wall Street Bank said, the position is important because of its likely role in regulating crypto assets. A productive regulatory environment would lead to the listings of more tokens by exchanges and brokers and would also encourage more product innovation, the report added. So, JP Morgan's report coming out today, completely going against what the Biden administration said, both the Biden administration saying Trump and crypto is never going to happen. JP Morgan's report coming out, very matching to what Wall Street said, completely matching to what Wall Street said, that Trump is going to bring the regulations and that we're moving past one of the worst regulatory spaces in the world, the American market space was, to becoming one of the best spaces for the crypto industry is what America's heading towards. And that obviously the regulations are not going to be, overnight. As I said previously, it's going to be the first 100 days. The first 100 days are going to be very critical under Trump's administration for everything that he's going to be achieving. But even JP Morgan is behind Trump's plans. So is Wall Street. The only people that said he couldn't achieve what he's going to be achieving is Biden's administration and people around Jerome Powell spreading false information. So 2025 is still going to be about, no matter what anybody says, no matter what the Biden administration tried to do or say in their last few days of being in power, we're still going into rules and regulations no matter what. We're going to get more regulations inside the crypto space. We're going to get a new SEC chairman, which has already been chosen. We're going to get a new CFTC chairman, which is on the choices. We're going to get rid of the FDIC chairman, which means that's no more stifling when it comes to crypto banks. We're going to get the regulations. We're going to get SEC chairman, banks, institutions, ETFs, and even Eric, the Bloomberg ETF specialist, analyst, and everybody listens on Wall Street to Bloomberg like it's gospel, said that 2025 is going to be a wave of ETFs happening. So everybody who is business-minded or runs some sort of business or runs some sort of an industry or runs some sort of a bank or is a part of Wall Street is standing behind Trump and saying Trump can make America, one, great again, and two, the capital of cryptocurrencies. So, let's end it on a positive note. This was the CMF Live. You've watched this for the first time ever. All good things must come to an end, which they have now. If you watch this for the first time ever, this was the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Mars Family. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So if you're watching this for the first time ever, this was CMF Live, and tune in every single night, Monday to Friday, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. Also, thank you so much to everybody that liked this live, retweeted this live, commented on this live on X, and followed me on X. And thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who liked this live, and also subscribe to me on YouTube as well. We also have our own Telegram group, which anybody is more than welcome to join, completely free. And we have our own, essentially, X communities page for the CMF Live. Join it if you already haven't. Great to play, essentially a great place to be in. No, he's an advisor. Let's go back inside the comment section before we end live as well. Just see if there's any last minute questions. No, he hasn't. He's a advisor. What people get by mistake. He's not in the government. No, he's not in the government. It's like a side department. He's not the advisor to get his money for his rock. No, he's not the advisor to get his money. No, he's not the department. He's the advisor. That's true. He is the advisor. But it's the trust building that we're talking about, essentially. But yes, he is the advisor only. Good night, Miles and CMF family. Funky brothers. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Night, Miles. See you tomorrow. Mickey, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Great live, Miles, as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Jason, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Thank you, Miles. It was great live. See you tomorrow. Good night, Tor. See you tomorrow, sometime as usual. Night, Miles and CMF. See you tomorrow. Peg, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks, Miles. Great live. See you tomorrow. Free and forever. See you tomorrow, sometimes as usual as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Take care, Miles, the CMF though. Ray, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual. Mike, good night, Miles. Take care. Mike, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles. Kelly, see you tomorrow same time as usual. We appreciate loads. Good night, all. Lena, see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. I'll be seeing everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. If you haven't followed me, follow me. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, retweet, like, share, comment. Thank you, Millie. Let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well, Millie. Shelly, thanks, Legend. Night, CMF. Shelly, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks, as always, Miles. Have a good night, everyone. Ghost Burner, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Night, all. Susie, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Joe, thank you, Miles, for a great live. Joe, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Talk to you tomorrow, Miles. Semper, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. I'll be seeing everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Follow, like, retweet, subscribe, comment, share if you already haven't. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.